What is a comedic voice?
People's dads could hit you, and then you come home, oh, what the fuck did you do?
Comedic voice is more than just a style. It's their essence.
Do have mild racism.
It's a unique blend of perspective, tone, rhythm, and intent that defines how they view the world and share their vision with an audience.
See shit.
This voice becomes a stand-up comedian's signature, a convergence of humor, insight, and personality that not only distinguishes them, but also resonates deeply, inviting audience laughter through genuine connection.
We are ekdam number one. We are.
Some say it takes years of practice to develop a particular voice, but it's what identifies and differentiates a particular comedian from others.
Hey, who wants to hear about my daughter's boyfriend?
The foundation of a comedic voice is perspective, the way a comedian views life, influenced by personal experience, beliefs, and outlooks, and how they present it to an audience.
Possibly the most excruciating form of torture even possible.
This worldview is a lens through which they observe and interpret. The reason one comedian might find humor in the absurdity of the daily life, while others turn into social critique or existential musings.
What are you doing? Y'all are bad friends. This is an insane situation. You know how I know? I'm working right now, and I'm being a better friend to her than you.
Aristotle understood comedy as a mirror to life's incongruities, helping people make sense of contradictions by presenting them in a humorous light. This perspective informs the comedian's choice on a topic, the angles which they choose to approach them, making their humor deeply personal and connecting with the audience. Apart from the substance of the comedy, the form, the delivery is equally essential.
This is a life-size photo. This is really what it looks like. This is how small I am on the actual talk.
Timing, pacing, vocal inflection, and even body language can create a rhythm of a comedian's particular voice. A pause, a raised eyebrow, or a sudden drop in tone can infuse a joke with suspense, surprise, or a punch. A comedian's ability to balance timing with rhythm transforms a simple thought into an unforgettable moment, crafting an experience that resonates long after the laugh fades and makes the specific comedian memorable and associated with that thought.
Because when you're just both, you just keep fighting. Everybody's like, those guys are dicks. They just fight. That's what it's.
Language and word choices further add texture. A comedic voice is a particular character or persona. Some comedians lean to regional dialects or colloquial slang, while others twist language intentively, coining terms and catchphrases that become signatures in their act. Aristotle also emphasized how choice of language and phrasing can move audiences, and in comedy, specific words or linguistic styles can do the same, making a comedian's voice immediately recognizable.
I did my show. Show went great. I said, good night, everyone. They all said, yeah.
It is part of their character, part of their ethos, who they are. The nuances in word choice provide subtle cues that deepen the humor and add a familiar and recognizable layer of meaning to each punchline. Another feature of a comedian's voice is a emotional tone that they bring to their performance. Whether it's cynical, optimistic, vulnerable, sarcastic, this tone creates an emotional undercurrent that shapes the audience's experience of a comedian.
Flashing their titties, going fucking nuts.
Comedian's emotional tone reveals a vulnerability, self-awareness, and raw authenticity that draws the audience closer and helps the audience feel both entertained and understood. Some understand the comedic voice as a kind of persona, amplifying certain traits or quirks that offer a slightly detached or intensified version of a comedian. For example, a deadpan approach or exaggerated high energy can add a unique flair to their voice, creating an immersive experience that draws the audience into their world and creates a consistent character. This persona serves as a kind of mask that allows the comedian to explore extremes, push boundaries, and emphasize aspects of their humor in a way that enhances the delivery without losing authenticity. They can use this to visit certain reoccurring themes and topics that can be identified with a comedian's voice. Many comedians revisit subjects that they are most interested in their life and perspective, things like relationships, identity, or social issues. They're not merely topics, but personal preoccupations. Nietzsche argued that humor could confront difficult truths, offering an outlet to wrestle with life's challenges and contradictions. Through these themes, comedians can build a relationship with their audience while also sharing their own exploration of philosophical themes and trying to think about different challenges in life. They might not be the most intelligent or most sophisticated in approaching some of life's issues or political topics, but they offer a perspective from almost a familiarity, like a friend, where they can explore issues that resonate with the audience and make the comedian's act both comforting, entertaining, and thought-provoking.
Talk for 90 minutes, and then suddenly the juice said, you know what? I've got to be going.
Audience can find a friend in the comedian's voice as a persona. Even if you don't agree with your friend, you can still think that they're funny and connect with them. A strong comedic voice is vital to comedian success because it brings authenticity and makes their material feel genuine. Audiences are drawn to comedians who reveal their true selves, offering glimpses into their unique lives and perspectives. This authenticity fosters a powerful connection, creating loyal fans who feel personally invested in the comedian's work.
150,000% sure? Lose is lose.
It's sometimes difficult to conceptualize this idea of a comedic voice. One way to get a feel for it is when somebody does an impression of that comedian. Often they distill the comedic voice, whether it's particular gestures, topics, or inflections in the way they speak.
Harry, real quick, don't lie.
A unique voice is essential for stand-up comedians because it's such a crowded field. As an audience navigates the endless array of comedic options, a distinct voice makes the comedian memorable and sets them apart, creating a recognizable brand. Over time, a strong comedic voice becomes a hallmark in their career, lending consistency across performances and ensuring that their material remains unmistakably theirs, even as they evolve.
Two things I'm into now is weed and spicy peppers. Yeah. Boy, those have come a long way, haven't they? They're kind of similar. They've gone like the same trajectory. Yeah, they're both like started out normal, not a big deal. Now they're like genetically modified. They got all these crazy strands like fucking purple nurple and Maui Wowie, and all the guys who sell it are always very eccentric. And every time I eat one, I'm laying on the floor, hugging my knees, praying to God.
A clear comedic voice also grants creative freedom. With a defined style, comedians can experiment with a range of topics without losing the cohesion in their audience's expectations. This versatility allows comedians to adapt to cultural shifts while remaining true to the voice that resonates with their fans. When a comedian's voice is well established, they can navigate new ideas or push boundaries while maintaining consistency that keeps their audience connected and engaged. Developing a comedic voice is a process that begins with self-reflection and practice. Many comedians start by looking inwards and identifying the beliefs, values, and experiences that shape their perspective.
It doesn't matter what you do if you're not bleeding from your face at the end of a shift.
But more practically, it's important to get the stage time and to keep training your material and skills to see what works and what is excised. After countless sets on stage, there begins to emerge a kind of core approach that is consistent with who you are as a person and who you are on stage. Whether it's dramatized or exaggerated, it's going to be rooted in a certain coherent person that you are. Another way of thinking about it is that comedians become more of themselves on stage. It's almost a mystical experience of finding yourself.
A single woman in this room has a list of things that she does to get ready.
It illustrates the concept of the wisdom of the crowds. Audiences are perceptive and they understand when a particular voice or persona is undeveloped and inconsistent and inauthentic. When comedians can sense that the audience is pulling back, the comedian can adjust, and this is partly the skill involved in developing a comedic voice. By constantly making minor adjustments to resonate with the audience, the comedian ultimately refines their comedic voice. This experimentation is a crucial step in finding a comedic voice. trying different styles, formats, and topics on stage to allow comedians to see what resonates both with themselves and the audience.
Do I have a 95-minute knock-knock joke? You bet your ass I do.
They can test observational humor, dark comedy, or absurdist approaches to discover what really feels most authentic to themselves and who they are on stage. Observing other comedians can also provide insights. Studying a range of comedic voices reveals a diversity of approaches. Emulating comedians can inspire new directions and help comedians discern the nuances that will define their own style. For Aristotle, understanding and dissecting other speakers was essential to crafting effective rhetoric. Similarly, for comedians, observing other perspectives, showing how unique voices can be cultivated and refined, they all offer important data points.
Stuck it in your mouth, and then you'd be like, I want another drink.
In comedy, arguably the voice is everything. It's the reason certain comedians linger in memories long after the punchline fades. The reason some jokes land differently depending on who tells them. A comedian's voice is their true calling card, a blend of style, substance, and the soul that brings their humor to life.
Right?